and identify possible solutions to address the threats we face now, especially in this new norm of pandemic COVID-19. This is an avenue for all of us with similar goals to intensify cybersecurity, not only in Malaysia, but also globally. I am truly overwhelmed this afternoon to see so many of old friends and new acquaintances here. I believe we have not had we have not had a face-to-face meeting for many months. So I think it's good to see all of you here. And I'm confident that our collaboration will ensure a safe and secure cyberspace for everyone. Thank you, and have a fruitful industry dialogue session. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Yang Berbahagia Dato'. And now, ladies and gentlemen, we shall now proceed to the industry dialogue for CCP. Our moderator this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, is Yang Berbahagia Dato' Dr. Noor Azizan. Serves as an international advisor and managing director of Asia of Cyber Rescue Alliance UK. Cyber Rescue Alliance is a consulting company helping firms all over the world in measuring and mitigating cyber risk. Dato' has more than 25 years of international strategic and sales management experience in numerous telecoms and ICT sectors, a certified trainer and analyst for talent assessment program via fingerprint analysis, a well-known moderator, a motivator, and also a certified trainer. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Yang Berbahagia Dato' Dr. Noor Azizan, the moderator for our Industry Dialogue CCP.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera and a very good afternoon to all of you today. My name is Azizan and I'll be your moderator today. Let me introduce the session panelists for today. Let me invite my best friend, Mr. Amitabh Srivastava, Practice Director, CyberSecurity, ABRS Sdn Bhd. Come, Amit. And Mr. Megat Muhammad Faizal, Chief Information Security Officer from Bank Muamalat Malaysia Berhad. And the last one, Mr. Alan C., Group CEO from Firma Sdn Bhd. As highlighted by the organizers, cybersecurity has tremendous potential for economic development and has great impact on national security. Both the public and private sectors need to comprehend the significance of cybersecurity, the challenges it brings, the gaps and impacts it has pertaining to the political, economic, and political spheres. My first question to I give a first right of refusal to Amit first. Okay, Amit, question number one. Cybersecurity is now the #1 priority for business leaders after the coronavirus crisis. What's your view on this?
First of all, thank you, CSM and everybody for welcoming. Dato', thank you. Thank God it has become #1 priority because I think a lot of people in this room, we have struggled for years and ages to make cybersecurity a priority in businesses and organizations. So if I can have a clap for all the people who actually recognize cybersecurity as a crucial industry variable. And I think we should be thankful to COVID uncle to actually visit us a little while ago. And the reason for that is I think it kicked off a digital transformation, which a lot of people, a lot of organizations have been talking about for ages. And as that digital transformation came in, I think 18th March was a drop dead date in many economies, countries, and geographies. because suddenly the business dynamics, the people engagement, the way to conduct business changed overnight. Zoom became a very big company, and suddenly we realized for almost 13 months now, Dato, that everything has to be done on a 17-inch screen. And the problem with that is a lot of us in this room, we have grown in a generation where people-to-people engagement was very important. We loved interacting, we loved pitching to our customers, and often what it does is that it creates a relationship variable which carries through in business relationships long term. I think the major challenge this digital transformation began with was the overall explosion of people not working within the organizational security framework. But suddenly these people were now working on unsecured home networks where the router is provided by one company and everybody in this room can tell the password of that company or any other company. The password is normally password or admin. So all these routers were exposed and we were dealing with home-based networks. Home-based networks were actually accessing information which were confidential for organizations, and we said VPN is very important for it. So we suddenly realized that the VPN load had become very, very large. By November of last year, Dato, we had in certain geographies more than 700% rise in cybercrimes. 700%. And the malware infection rate, which carried forward till October of last year, was as high as 50%, and depending on certain geographies, as high as 80%. I think it has changed the cultural paradigm. In fact, I'm very happy I'm able to sit with my friends here after a year. Almost all of you who are here in this room have been challenged. And that challenge has basically come from the digital transformation, which we didn't expect. So I think one of the biggest changes is that cybersecurity now is the backbone on which any infrastructure, any organization has to live with.
Just to be exact, the cyber attacks increased 768% year to year. This question goes to LNC. But if you look at Malaysia as a whole, right? They don't really bother or they don't really care about the 768% figures. So why is this happen? Are they a lack of awareness, education, or what?
I think, can you hear me? Okay. I think Malaysians' attitude, need to be changed. Over the last couple of years, we have seen also the changes is happening, especially in the end user side. Many years ago, when I believe when I started my cybersecurity business, I have to convince the customer why they need the solution. And right now, I think it is de facto solutions that they have to use it as no longer options. Those days, I think the CIO are facing a daunting task to actually request for budget, get approval from a board. I think right now it's much easier. Of course, I won't say it's no need. I think in general, the attitude towards that has improved. And to come back to your questions that, is it Malaysian care or not? I'm sure nowadays people are more care because, there are cases of data being leaked and also they involve their personal data, especially nowadays, they put the footprint everywhere. Say, for instance, today, you go this place, you shop around and then my Sejahtera, and you literally your footprints everywhere, and you don't want people to know where you go, where do you go, and people are still more concerned about how this thing be protected, and because also over the transformation and digitization that we are talking about, and people realize that cybersecurity is no longer an option as compared with those days.
As an individual, so do you feel comfortable scanning to my Sejahtera all over the place that you went before?
Actually, to answer you, I'm not comfortable, but I have no choice because we have to do it due to the government policies and also because of contact tracing. But seriously, I don't feel comfortable on that.
Okay, very sincere response from Ellen. Okay, Magat from Bank Muamalat. Okay. Awareness and preparedness is always key to combat cybercrime. So as an individual, as companies, that cybersecurity is real, the threat is real, right? So having said that, right, coming from a bank, I think the awareness level for Malaysian is still bad. I have to be honest, because if you see the cases coming, resulting from low awareness in terms of cybersecurity, is very petty, up to a point that easily being duped by a phishing call. All these things, and we are not talking about lowly educated person. We have doctors, we have engineers, we have lecturers getting duped. And the thing is, awareness now is everywhere. I think in the media, in the social media, even for companies, putting some element of awareness in their advertising or at on the brochures at the entrance or the premises is everywhere now. But that's the problem, because we Malaysian always have this tidak apa attitude. That's the problem, right? But I think as a bank or financial institution, we always feel responsible to keep on going, giving the awareness in whatever way we can, continuous blasting of messages, making customer aware on the new things or the new approaches of these cyber threats or perpetrators that using phishing, using many ways so the awareness in terms of pushing for awareness is increasing, but the level of awareness still remain not acceptable yet. That's the disappointing part here.
Is that because the direct or indirect losses is quite intangible? You know, because when you say data breach, data leakages, it's quite hard to convert that into a dollars and cents. Is that one of the reasons or what?
For me, from banking perspective, it's always about dollars and cents. Because every single day when we have EMT online calls, we always report on, okay, today how many fraud cases, how many phishing cases, and it's always on the uptrend, right? And it's always directly hitting the pocket of the victims. Yeah, because and I see the common reason of why they being duped normally is either fear or greed. So that's two powerful things that the perpetrator use. It's either fear or greed, and with that they are easily fall prey to be a victim. So that's a problem. Yeah.
Okay. Back to Alan. Alan, do you think Malaysian companies spend enough IT budget to combat cybersecurity or cybercrime?
It depends on industry. Given the financial institutions, and they are heavily covered by Bank Negara Rmit guideline, I think, it's not a matter of whether spend or not. They have no choice but to comply to. In fact, I think, as an organization, especially Malaysian organization, if you can see that, everyone trying to find a way not to spend, because I've talked to many big conglomerate, and especially some of those, family business, even though they are listed, and they always have a mindset that, my industry is not bank, no one will hit me, and even though it hits me, but I'm not going to spend a few $100,000 for cybersecurity investment. Whereas for bank is different because of Bank Negara guideline, and ever since the RMIT has been implemented since January 2020, and all banks, whether it's a tier 1, tier 2, they have to comply to it. And of course, this has also created a lot of business opportunity, to the security vendor like us. So we foresee that the business will still be growing, despite of the economic slowdown that may be faced by other industry. Now, come back to the corporate. I always tell people, that if we have a GDPR kind of punishment, people are very willing to spend, because you got to find a certain percentage of your annual revenue. Then compare with the data leak that you are going to be penalized, and investment they're going to make, there's very little. But because of we don't have that rules and fines and very strict enforcement, and making people just don't care if the data is being leaked, for organization. Secondly, is also, many of them are, even though they are listed, they are big, they still think that I won't be the target. I won't be the target. And of course, this may have changed your mind for the last couple of months, because I'm sure all my colleagues here, or all my peers here may agree that the cyber threats are at the rise for the last couple of months, especially the ransomware attack. It hit the banks, it hit the corporate, it hit many organizations. And whether they pay or not pay is secondary, but productivity was gravely affected due to the server was down, and then some of them even worse, that without a backup. Why? Because backup also being affected, because they actually put a backup in a single line network, which is no. So that's why these are happening in Malaysia.
We do notice lately that one of the biggest contributors to the cybercrime or data leakages and so on is due to the third-party supplier that caused the problem. Amit, do you see the same thing?
Yeah, I think this is a problem which has existed in this industry for almost 20 odd years. And lately, the reason it has become so aggravated is that the third-party vendors, fourth-party vendors, or the subcontractors in many cases, they are not governed by the same governance principles as the main organization may be. That's one. The second is affordability, budgets. The smaller service providers and third-party vendors do not have the budgets to actually even afford the so-called, within air quotes, costly cybersecurity solutions. Third, which is I think now becoming more aggravated, is if I am a hacker, and everybody who is technical here and comes from the hacking world, why will I waste energy trying to hack a fully secured large organization when I can easily hack a service provider and piggyback on that service provider and actually reach the large organization? I will encourage you to read an attack on a US retail company called as Target. And you will be amazed how that attack happened through a refrigeration system. If you study the attack on Sony, you will be amazed how that attack happened. So in many cases, the attack in the past also have happened through the third-party vendors. The reason now it is becoming much more predominantly visible is because it is easier to piggyback on a third party. Everybody is working from home. And to Alan's point and Megat's point, I think the biggest challenge today is not intelligence or emotional quotient. The biggest challenge today is the cyber quotient of individuals. And 90%, as you will study the various data forms of the attacks, are because of extreme lack of cyber quotient. Absolute lack of understanding of cyber hygiene, which my friend Anwar uses a lot. Extreme lack of cyber hygiene. And the lack of cyber hygiene, I can ask everybody in this room, how many of you know how to flush the cache of your mobile phone? And everybody will be having an app dealing with the bank using the mobile phone. The problem is, if I am interested in your device or your account, I can easily enter your devices. So third-party vendors, not just an engagement parameter for the hacker now, it is the easiest parameter.
Okay, just to continue on that subject, Alan, before I go to Magat. Okay, Alan, in 2020, it was reported that DDoS cases explode. The problem with cryptocurrency based payment software also went up, exploded exponentially. Now, this year, the price of Bitcoin went up like hell. For the first time in history, it went up to 61,000 per Bitcoin. And what's your view as far as cybersecurity is concerned, playing a role in this?
Okay, I think Bitcoin price rise is actually surprised many people, I'm sure. 61, yeah, I last saw it's only 50 something, US dollar. 55,000, sorry. Anyway, I think cryptocurrency as such as like Bitcoin has been widely used in the dark net as the currency for communication or for making payments. So, and because of its non-traceable and it's highly secretive, and hence I think with the, I mean, this is my personal opinion, which because I'm not sure the real reason, but of course other reason could be potential for this is future currency. People are saying that a lot of youngsters think that they are investing, but for my personal opinion, one of the reasons that the price go up is also because of it has been widely used in the dark net to actually to pay ransom or even to trade, for, and also many people use it as a dark net, use it as a money laundering currencies, for that. So that hence make it the valuation actually has gone up tremendously. Yeah.
Okay, Magat, from your experience, what is the biggest challenges in combating cybercrime?
I think again, it's always start with people. Yeah, because there's if you can afford to put a Ferrari of things, but if the driver is useless, it will still be useless. So, and that's why I think a good cyber program must start with the strict emphasis on the people side, in terms of the awareness, in terms of continuous, whether it's automated or manual assessment of what kind of level of discipline in terms of cyber your employees adhering to on a daily basis at work or even at home, because now everybody is working from home, and that poses another challenge which we don't really think about prior to MCO, right? We always continuously securing our environment at work, but one day MCO announced, now we have another big issue opening up. At first week, yeah, okay, we are struggling to try for everyone to work from home. Then challenges are, we realize home network definitely not secured. That's one thing. Then the devices that they use, because it's a forced lockdown, some employees are forced to use their own personal devices, but accessing company networks. So all these challenges piling up on the first week of MCO, and I at that point of time, I haven't joined the bank at Deloitte. I see many of my clients struggling in this, operationalizing the lockdown, working from home, and ended up, make hasty decision to just speed up the securing the environment or securing sending secured device to their staff and everything, but still the fear continues until even now. And it's just that I think one good thing coming from COVID-19 is that it speeded up everything, right? You don't need to basically sell the idea of cybersecurity is important. Now I think all big companies or even small companies have the mindset of cyber first. So that is very important, right? So it's rather than if, let's say, when I issuing RFPs or tenders, right? Because of these cyber policies, I don't really basically sit on the decision. Because my first question when I go for negotiation or even vendor presentation, how fast can you implement? How fast can you roll out to my my staff that work across the nation? How fast? That is the key. Because I think what I've seen the trend now since MCO started last year is that speed is the key in terms of securing, in terms of mobilizing, and in terms of pushing products for companies, because that's the only way, right? And since I think Alan did mention to me just now, the trend of online transaction is increasing. I think now about 70%. 70% of people are doing online transaction. So this is key. Now, whether you are from a bank perspective, pushing your product, or making sure or establishing trust to your customer that you use our online banking is secured. at all times. So that's the things that came out from this COVID-19. And the challenges continues. While our BAU we focusing on complying to RMIT, all the projects leading to that, but this new norm loading another load on top of it. Yeah, so these are the challenges that banks or other organizations are facing at the moment.
I mean, some people understand that by having a system in place, cybersecurity system in place can handle, can solve all the problem. Is that true?
You're going to make me a villain now.
Because you are a developer.
In cybersecurity, we say that you have three key areas: people, process, and technology. Before all of you guys hate me, technology is roughly around 10% of cybersecurity.
Only 10%.
Yeah. Now you will ask me, then what is the rest? Why are we buying such expensive stuff? Process management and people is 90% of cybersecurity. Now here is the flip side. Ask any organization, 90% of their budget is spent where? On technology, and 10% on process and people. So there is a strange dichotomy in which the industry is structured. The other problem, Dato, is that when we say 10% technology, that doesn't mean that 10% technology only takes care of hardware. 10% technology takes care of hardware and software. Now, if you take software as the integral part of securing a network, the percentile further drops to around 3%. Because the hardware costs often are very high and steep. Now, at 3% of the budgetary provisions created, you are actually fighting against a $285 trillion cyber attack economy. How are we supposed to fight them? Now, how do I arrive at this $1 trillion economy of the cyber crime world? Just do me a favor, add all the white space internet big companies, Google, Amazon, and look at the revenue that they generate. Do me a favor, add the number of manpower that they have in all these companies together, and multiply that by 50 is the size of the hacking world. That's the size you're dealing with 3% of your corporate cybersecurity budget. And that's the challenge.
Anything to add, Alan?
Yeah, I have something to add. I don't know how do you derive this 10% investment technology, but I tend to think that it should be higher because 10% is a bit extreme, to a certain extent. But I do agree that out of these people, process, and technologies, people and processes play a very important role with assistance from technology. Because you see, there are certain things that human impossible. Say, for instance, analytic part or even firewall protection. You need a good firewall. You need a good EDR solution. All this solution is very, very costly nowadays. Especially nowadays, all the vendors have changed their fees modeling. From one-time purchase to subscription to become software as a services. That will cost many organizations, especially in a big organization where they have a lot of IT or IT security investment, cost them a hefty expenditures. So I would personally think that it should be higher than 10. I don't have any statistic to challenge Amit, but I think it's higher. But I do agree with him that process management and also people play an utmost important role because with the good technology that you have, I've seen many organizations, they have firewall, they have AV, they have IPS, they have everything in place, but most of them was not configured properly. So they invested millions on that, but because it was not configured properly, it can't do a proper jobs to protect you because some of them even don't have rules. Some of them the rules it's no rules. I'm sure those system administrators will agree to me. And how often they revisit all the security devices and how many of them will really optimize the functionality of the technology by applying the rules which is applicable to them.
Nowadays, ransomware, somebody make it legal. Okay, you have to pay a certain amount of money so that your computers can experience a much faster speed as compared to before. But seriously, there is nothing wrong with the laptop or the computers. But because of you install so many things or you go to many websites and suddenly your experience slow down in your laptop, right? Then there is a software asks you, okay, you pay, then it will increase the power, blah 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 blah. Have you experienced this kind of thing before?
Personally and professionally, no. But in my past employment, I did have clients that be affected by that. Suddenly in May, I think May last year or a year before, they got attacked by ransomware. And to their disadvantage, their backup also is affected. So, but the most recent type of ransomware, which I think a bit more advanced than 2 years ago, I think started to surface and many mutation of it, which I think now attacking the banks. I think a couple of weeks ago, there's one bank has been affected. That's what we heard. Nobody going to confirm it, but that's what I heard. And again, the way how is being affected by that particular organization is always simple. A staff that clicking something is always the old tactic, but it keep on happening.
So tempting to click on.
Exactly, and I think maybe now because like all these ransomware producers, I would say, and put it in a nicer way, they are very professional, right? They have a proper contact center. So I think nowadays they have become more
sophisticated.
And sophisticated. They even have a designer of how they're going to approach it, right? So sometimes they use the target's victim. They use some social engineering prior to the attack of the email, but via the email, to basically encapsulate in the email personal information or events that happen, right? Because they can crawl the social media and whatnot related to the target. So then they encapsulate that information into the email. So then when the victim open the email, this is what I've done last week. So if they thought it coming from someone genuine, so they just click, simply clicking. So the perpetrators become more and more creative because they think like business, right? They know who they want to reach, what is their preference, how they been acting in the past. The proper analysis of your target, right? And people easily get victimized by that. So that's the worry here, because again, you can't stop new threats like ransomware, right? But the way the perpetrator approaching the victim is worrying, is very worrying. Yeah, so no matter how much level of awareness you push, there's always new people coming up with new tactics and strategies to attack the victim. So that's worrying.
Okay, I think I would like to open this session to members of the floor. If you have any questions you want to ask to the panelists, there is one microphone over there. Just introduce yourself, your name and where you from. Any takers? Please. You can address any questions to these three gentlemen here, to Alan, Megat or Amit.
Assalamualaikum, good afternoon. especially to the moderator, Dato', and also the three esteemed panelists. I have this question, which I would wish to extend to Encik Megat from Bank Muamalat.
To Megat, eh?
Yeah, Encik
Okay.
Megat. The fact is that right now, as you know, all the banks has to comply to the new regulation made by Bank Negara, which is the RMIT, which were launched, I believe, solely last year. And it is widely being, enforced to be applied to all the banks. My question to you is that, besides RMIT, what other regulations and standards is actually applied to Bank Muamalat, or the banking sector especially? And I also like to find out from you, it is interesting just now when you mentioned that the staff can also cause some significant, nuisance, especially to the entire system itself because of, certain insensitivity, probably lack of awareness. Do you, as a bank, provide things that you guys have actually provide sufficient, security awareness training to the staff as of today, since the date of your establishment? Thank you.
Okay, on the first question is what kind of other standards that bank need to apply. So I think in the end, when you talk to about cybersecurity in general, you always talk about NIST, right? That's a general thing, and if you look at the RMIT, you can practically dissect it against NIST domains, the 5 domains. So that is a global standard that everyone applies rigorously. But I think as a regulator now, not only they're enforcing you to comply to RMIT, they also starting to do cybersecurity maturity level assessment on a periodic basis. Again, it's NIST-based and other related standards, so like SANS, control and whatnot, right? Which I think is more sustainable and better as compared to compliance mentality, because like it or not, we are human. So when you talk about compliance, typically your mindset is once I comply, I'm done, right? Whereas when you use a standard and assess yourself based on maturity level, and typically the outcome of the assessment, there should be a target expected level based on your industry that you need to achieve, and that is more sustainable and is more continuous than compliance, because with cybersecurity, the threats, the risk coming to it, the attacks coming on daily basis is not going to stop. Full stop. You need to accept that reality, right? So if you have this compliance mindset, once I do it, I'm done, not going to cut it, right? So the maturity assessment, continuous maturity assessment, and with that maturity assessment, you have a agile roadmap for you to be continuously up the ante in terms of your cyber defenses. This is important, that you need to get assurance for your banks. So having said that, all these things not going to be cheap, right? Obviously, it's not going to be cheap.
Because of Rmit.
Yeah, but the easy part coming from COVID, like I say, justification is already easy, right? It's just the effort, the resources needed, and the timeline that you need to complete. That's the key. And having MCO in place also not helping in a way, because the demand and the requirement coming out of this is always about fast and cheap if possible, right? I mean, and also must be done even with the lockdown being put in place. Right, my expectation, if I hire a vendor, it must be done. I don't care, right? Because the threat is real already, right? and then we are exposed on daily basis. People are using our system, whether customer or internal or external. Then the need of expediting the security portion according to certain standards, according to what being expected by regulators, is a pressing need, right? We cannot do without it, and you cannot further delay it anymore, right? This is always a challenge. So, but in terms of managing it, we need to basically balance it, right? So that's why I always prefer going into maturity assessment kind of thing, so that I know what is on my plate. It's easy for me to prioritize, because you need to justify to your stakeholders why I prioritize project A instead of project B, given all these challenges within this lockdown period and whatnot. So this is very key, and having a proper cyber program with proper cyber maturity assessment, then you know where you want to get at in terms of the maturity level to be at least at par or better against your competitor or peers. So this is very important and more sustainable. Sustainable is very apt word at the moment, because
Sustainable.
yeah, because in the end, yes, you want to protect everything as much as possible, but do you have that deep pocket to do it? But is it smart to do it that way? Correct. That's another key question that what I always ask, right? To answer that, then you have to look at yourself. You need to know what actually you're protecting. What actually is my crown jewel that I need to protect, rather than protect everything to no end. I still get hit, right? So I need to understand and protect what matters to me and my customer and my stakeholder first. That's how a maturity assessment will help you to prioritize.
Okay. Any other question? Please.
All right. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good evening. Okay, let me give a question in bahasa. Okay, nama saya Siraj Jalil daripada Persatuan Pengguna Cyber Malaysia.
Persatuan Pengguna Cyber Malaysia.
Malaysia Cyber Consumer Association.
Okay, alright.
Okay. Persoalan saya, minggu lepas kita baru menyaksikan sejarah berkenaan Section 17A di bawah Suruhanjaya Pencegahan Rasuah.
Section 17A. Okay.
First company yang charge di mahkamah atas salah satu rasuah, yang mana board director disabit bersama disebabkan main issue today. They are selling the data to the third party and create intelligent cybercrime. So like Macau scam, so they know sometimes they call pihak-pihak pengguna ni yang mana mungkin ada rekod jenayah ataupun rekod di balai-balai polis tertentu. Kemudian akhirnya memberikan kecelaruan kepada pengguna tadi. So my question is, sejauh manakah pihak industri mengambil berat tentang cyber corruption ini, ataupun adakah tersedia soal pelan anti rasuah di kalangan pemain industri keselamatan cyber negara? Sekian, terima kasih.
So let me clarify further. Apa you tanya mengenai cyber corruption? So what kind of program that typically organisation do to avoid it? Betul tak? Plan. Again, I think if you go by example of the first arrest for the Section 17A tu is more typical typical rasuah. But I think when you talk about cyber incident but related to data being sold, right, to third party or the Macau scam group and whatnot. Again, this is back down to weaknesses from human perspective lah, right? And people want to make easy gain from selling things that they don't, they simply have on a daily basis. But I think benda ni dah berleluasa dah lama, right? Because even not about fraud, you keep on getting calls from anything, anybody want to sell something, and you always wonder, how do you get my number, right? That's the first thing that you need to see. And then you always question, we do have a PDPA, but why are being keep getting these calls repeatedly, sometimes on the same thing but different person at various time? So that is the key question here. How is my numbers being shared, whether with price being offered in exchange to get my numbers or not, I'm not sure, right? So that is more important. I think in Malaysia the problem is how these people get our numbers to begin with. Because to say that for example, the Macau scam group benefited from police station giving numbers might not be entirely true also, because we've seen a lot of cases, they got this call and they are genuine person without any cases with police or court, but they got scared. And typically, as a human, greed always in a picture, and fear is obviously overriding everything, right? Without rationalizing things. So that's the problem. Some of the cases that I've seen in the past also, really in relation to this, is just either you offer something to attract their greed, or you basically accuse people to basically create their fear. So this is a common tactic, but to answer to your question is we need to basically drill down and understand in Malaysian context where these numbers being distributed, how, who. This is the biggest question. Rather than who sell, whether the police station sell to people like this group, it might be one of the contributor, no doubt. But I'm in no position to accuse. But I'm more interested of who keep calling me every day to sell this, sell that, and whatnot. That's the bigger picture lah, I would say.
Okay, saya jawab juga. Saya ada sikit pengalaman. Saya bekerja dengan cybersecurity ni, dengan Anwar semuanya. Kita bincang. Masalah kita masalah di Malaysia ni, perkara utama kita adalah punca kuasa yang ada kepada agensi. Sekarang ni sebahagian daripada punca kuasa ada kepada Suruhanjaya, kepada pihak polis. Pihak polis, kalau you pergi report dekat dia, dia tanya you dah pergi report dekat Suruhanjaya ke belum. Jadi sekarang ni negara memerlukan satu legislation, satu akta yang boleh menyelaras ke semua punca kuasa. Ini yang penting. Kalau tidak, rakyat tak nak buat laporan. Rakyat pergi sini, dia tendang pergi sana. Rakyat pergi sana, dia tendang pergi sini. Jadi, in most cases, scammers hari ini dia boleh bermerajalela. Kerana kelemahan yang ada dalam akta, bukan akta tu tak ada, akta ada. Tetapi akta mesti diperkemas. Inilah yang sedang diusahakan oleh CyberSecurity Malaysia. Kita nak tengok apakah area ataupun bahagian-bahagian yang boleh dikemas kini, dan perkara ini akan dimajukan kepada pihak kementerian untuk dibawa ke parlimen untuk dibincangkan. Kerana selagi tidak ada punca kuasa yang jelas, maka tarik tali ini akan ada, scammers juga yang untung. Okey, silakan tuan. Sekejap Anwar, berapa lama masa kita ada? 2.15, okey. Alright, okey.
Assalamualaikum.
Assalamualaikum.
Nama saya Muhammad Azmi yang di-Pertua Pertubuhan Usahawan Bumi.
Muhammad Azmin.
Ya, YDP Pertubuhan Usahawan Bumi Putera Kebangsaan. Okey, tadi saudara kita dari bank, dia kata dia tak tahu macam mana nombor-nombor boleh di ini kan. I received a call from my bank. Okay, my main number phone rosak. I have a second line which I didn't register with the bank. And how is the bank can call me at my second line to collect my checkbook? Where did the bank get the phone number? So, you banker, can you please answer?
Oh, ini soalan cepu mas ni. Dialog kita hari ni alhamdulillah pukul 2 ni mula ramai nak tidur lagi.
Macam mana bank boleh dapat phone number yang kedua? Because I register only my first number. Second number not with the bank. But my phone rosak. The bank says, cik, your bank checkbook dah siap dah.
Second line pun dia boleh call.
Dia boleh trace. Where did the bank able to trace my second number? So banks are also culprits. Buying numbers or getting people's numbers, abetting the scam.
Okay.
I rasa you have to answer for that.
Okay.
Terima kasih, Jasmine.
Soalan
Terima kasih.
Tapi okay, I think from our perspective, especially if you do mobile banking, with the Rmit requirement where you need to bind one number for your transaction so that the tag can be pushed to a single number and whatnot. So typically in our CRM system, normally there's always one number that the customer updated. But there are some cases where you have any other number to be inputted allowable. Tapi kalau for the sake of if you end-to-end customer from the traditional banking up to the online customer, the internet banking, then typically there's always primary number only. But again, going back to your example tadi, because bank tak dapat number first you, they know the second number.
Where they get the number?
First and foremost, you need to check first, are they an agent of the bank or are they bank themselves?
No, bank call me from the bank telephone number. I beritahu lah itu bank number kan.
Okay.
And the bank says, please collect your buku check, which is ready for collection. I was wondering where the hell they get this number. Ini private number ni. Not
I would wonder too.
But how is the bank connected with telco to get all this information? So who is the culprit now? Telco ke bank?
Saya rasa soalan ni kena dibawa kepada perhatian menteri yang datang sekejap lagi kerana ini berkaitan dengan telco. Kita fully aware, Cik Azmin ada pihak-pihak yang menjadi agent kepada bank, collectors dan sebagainya. Mereka mengaku mereka daripada bank. Tapi sebenarnya mereka bukan daripada bank.
But this thing is the telephone number of the bank is in my phone. And I tahu lah itu bank bukan third party.
I'll take it.
You see? So, where? How?
Jasmine, let me try and answer it. I don't know how. I really feel for Magad. But what did you use as an identification when you took the second number?
My name.
Your social security card, right?
My name and my IC number for my second number, that is only for my close friends and family. So that means the bank has got access to telco. By using your IC number, they're able to get a number. So who the hell gave the right to the bank? And who the hell gave the right to the telco to release my information?
I will try and solve this for you, but I think let's try and do it slightly offline because it will be very difficult to solve it in this one-on-one. But I promise you, you would have yourself given the number to somebody.
Okey, benda ni perkara yang common yang berlaku. Tak apa, kita take it offline. Kita tak nak jawapannya di mislead. Okey, terima kasih atas soalan, Jasmine. Ada sebarang soalan lagi? Any other questions? Silakan. Our chap from UK just came back. Matthew.
George, ask easy questions, okay?
Well,
Please.
I'll be asking something that is quite, everybody uses My Sejahtera app. Do you know that the My Sejahtera app has got 14 permissions that amount to state surveillance? And I also noticed that most of the Malaysian apps do not have a security or privacy framework. Any comments?
I think we debated and discussed this before this event also. The concept of a privacy framework around any kind of application. As I told you at that time also, the problem is that we have not regulated the application development sector very well. And I will answer this by relating this to the energy sector. So if you buy a Samsung or any kind of a refrigerator today, you will see it will have a power ranking, 4-star or a 5-star or a 3-star. If you look at software development as an area, an application build out as a core operational parameter, in spite of the security ops environment or security development environment being built around it now, and we are very keen on trying to have a secure development environment of all the applications, the problem is, in spite of that, we do not have a security infrastructure which actually gives to what extent is this platform secure. Having said that, there is a process of doing it, which is basically going through a certification process, which actually CSM does. There's a division of CSM which concentrates on trying to certify products. But majority of products out there that you're using doesn't have that certification. Having said that, the core problem now comes is the privacy leakage. That privacy leakage basically originates from the fact that the privacy framework infrastructure, I don't think exists worldwide. And I am a great believer that it should be. And I'm a lot of credit to Snowdens of the world that they really brought a lot of stuff to the foray. But PDPA, GDPR, all of these are governing acts and laws and for governance. But I think the development industry, people who build applications and solutions, they need to also fall under an application security development parameter. That is still not built out.
So what you're trying to say is that if you collect my personal data, there's no security in there. There is no consent.
There are two words in English which are very interesting. Intent and intention. I will try and decipher this for you. So law is an intent by the government to ensure that this doesn't happen. Intention is the actual implementation of the law. So while Singapore is able to implement it and actually has a lot of fines being imposed, Malaysia has just implemented it, I think 5 years ago, or 3 years ago, 4 years ago, PDPA?
2010.
Longer.
2010.
2010. So I think the process is still there to have the realization of privacy. Is it weak or strong? I don't think PDPA, and I think there was a discussion a few months back on trying to look at certain clauses in addition to whatever is there in PDPA to augment the law further. Apart from that, I will encourage you to also look at the RMIT governing guidelines, which have been, in my judgment, again, maybe very controversial as I say that, I think it's one of the best laid out documentation that I have seen in Malaysia on risk management. It's beautifully drafted and it is very specific.
I agree, but I've read Rmit policy. Rmit policy is a 50-page policy. It is convoluted, complex. They've included policy, standards, and guidelines. And they do not follow the regular framework of policy, subset, procedure, subset, guidelines. I read the policy because someone actually approached me to read the policy. And what I found strange when I read the policy was, just trashed out. Because in that policy, it stated that you have to submit by 2019.
George, I agree with you to disagree on two things. One, any policy framework built in its first generation is always complicated. Let's be real.
But the 2020 policy was a revamp of the 2019 policy. They didn't even change the year.
I will give you a classic example. The law that we follow in this part of the world is based on something called as common law.
Yes.
Okay? It's not code-centric, it's precedent-centric. Now, based on common law, if you want to understand complexity of policy, that's the reason I still believe people process, which is policy and procedure, and then technology.
I agree.
So let me just talk about this policy. I call it the policy paradox. whenever you look at a law and you look at the policy regularization of that law, the problem always happens is that the complexity around it is so much that people just say, oh, no, I can't follow it. And this has happened across any law. I'll give the classic example of tax laws. You go to any Commonwealth country anywhere in the world, the tax law, that is the only law which changes every year. I don't know how many of you are aware of this. You have a fresh tax law every year. Now here is the policy paralysis. An individual or a company goes into a tax default in 1964 or 1984. Today the new tax law is in play. Under which law are you going to actually execute that person or have the case being filed? Yeah. So now you have to actually go back to 1984 or 64 and look at the tax law at that time. Similarly, if you're looking at the new cybersecurity laws worldwide, everybody in this room, you need to understand, cybersecurity as an industry is one of the youngest industries in the world. Half of the regulations that we are talking about didn't exist. In fact, the word cyber comes from a novel. The name of the novel was Necromancer. There was no industry called a cybersecurity industry. And 20 years ago, when many of us actually started it, we used to call it data security, information technology security. I think Dato will agree the word cybersecurity didn't exist. Now, in last 10 years, last decade or so, we are trying to create regulation framework around it. I think the NIST framework, which was getting mentioned, NIST SP 800 series, which regulates the complete framework of IT infrastructure and cybersecurity. How old is it, do you know? It's less than 10 years old. So give yourself some time and patience before we actually resolve this complex privacy, anonymity, and pseudo-anonymity issue in cybersecurity. I don't know how many of you are aware of this. This is a worldwide debate. What is private? What should be anonymous? And what should be pseudo-anonymous? With that, I will love to take this question further if you want.
Another question. Regulators. We don't have regulators regulating it. That's the problem in Malaysia.
No, we have regulators. Who told you we don't have regulators in cybersecurity?
What have they done so far?
Well,
the last, no breach, nothing. COVID-19.
CyberSecurity Malaysia itself is partly regulating this industry. And what they have done so far, I think you need to look at the world reports. We are the 8th best country in cybersecurity in the world. You should clap about it. Not only that, I have a problem when people say that Malaysia has not done enough. You don't know Asia then. Please go across the Asian market from India to this side, to Japan to that side, and I'm including Pacific. Please go Australia to that side and China to this side. Which country do you think has the best cybersecurity policy? And before you say Singapore, before you try and tell me that Australia has a better policy, is one of the best written documents I've come across. You should clap for yourself, by the way.
Yeah.
I'm not saying that. I agree. It's one of the best. I've looked at it. What I'm trying to say is that we don't have a regulator regulating it.
Right to what?
Breach management. If there's a data breach, what happens?
Oh, data breach.
I mean, an example is the Malaysian Airlines data breach.
That's what I was about. I think let's just take it all offline. I'll tell you why, George. We can spend a year on talking about data breaches and privacy, and I will love to. You can give me 2 days. I will just talk about this.
I'm not talking about data privacy. I'm talking about data protection. There's a difference.
Josh, I think,
I agree. I agree.
Yeah, we will continue the discussion. Yeah.
Please.
Thanks, George. Alright. Okay, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, saya rasa VIP akan sampai pada bila-bila masa saja daripada sekarang. Jadi saya ucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada semua atas perhatian, kepada semua topik perbincangan yang telah kita lakukan sebentar tadi. Terima kasih atas attention. InsyaAllah kita akan sambung lagi dialog. Kita begitu bersemangat. We are very eager and very ambitious
to talk about this industry. So we are looking forward for more dialogue in the future. Terima kasih. Sekian wabillahi taufiq wal hidayah. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera, selamat petang. Thank you, Amit.
Terima kasih Dato' Azizan. And as a token of appreciations to our presenters and our panelists, and Yang Berbahagia Dato' Azizan, I would like to invite Yang Berbahagia Dato' Technologist Haji Amiruddin untuk to present a token of appreciations to our panelists and Dato' Azizan. A token of appreciations to our moderator for today, ladies and gentlemen, Dato' Azizan. Panelist, Mr. Alan C. A token to Mr. Megat Muhammad Faisal. And last but not least, Mr. Amitabh Srivastava. Thank you very much, Dato' Amiruddin. A big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen, to the moderator and our panelists today. And without further ado, I'd like to invite from Abiras to Numberhat, the next presentation on cyber threat intelligence. Please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, Encik Kamarul Zaman Salih, Senior Pre-Sale Consultant of Abiras Numberhat. He's a Red Hat Certified Engineer, VMware Certified Professional, ITIL Service Management, and has various experiences in this industry. Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kamarul Zaman Salih.
Assalamualaikum and good afternoon. Okay, today I will present to you this CMOP Advanced DNS Firewall. Okay, this is our latest security solution, which is we co-developed with CyberSecurity Malaysia. Okay, before going into the detail of the product, okay, let's recap on our national journey to the My Digital. Okay, recently announced by our government. So during this pandemic, okay, we have been in 1 year, okay, in this COVID pandemic. So working at home, working remotely, okay, is a norm. So there will be, inshallah, more business opportunities when we are going into this My Digital initiative. Okay, all right. Okay, before getting into the product, so let's look into this DNS security market. So according to these reports from IDC in 2020, okay, on the global DNS threat report, okay, the market security for DNS security is growing year to year, okay, and then on the cyber incidents on the DNS attack, okay, on average we have that 9.5 DNS attack each organization was affected, okay, in 2020 alone. So the average cost is getting higher and higher. So that's the number, okay. And then for this, on this statistic, about 79% organization directing for the DNS-based attack. Okay, and this very important points is known that more than 90%, okay, this malware from the DNS-based malware. Okay, later I'll talk about what is DNS. And then about 82% organization was having this DNS attack and caused that the downtime. Okay, on the DNS security itself, okay, because we have in this cybersecurity services or solution, we have so many solutions from the perimeter, your endpoint, antivirus, okay, proxy, whatever. Okay, DNS is one of the security solution that we can use or implement in our environment, in our corporate. Okay, so by this DNS security help by adding into another additional layer of protection between user and the internet. So we are using the internet day to day. So that's why we need to have some sort of security solution, blocking policy whatsoever. Okay, or otherwise users in our corporate, in our organization can do whatever they want to do. Okay, can go to whatever they want to go on the internet. Okay, the other point is that with this solution we have this some features. For example, the blacklisting of dangerous site. So there are few million of domains, okay, on the internet. Could be good domains, okay, and some of that domains are not good, okay, malware domain, okay, virus domain, whatever. Okay, so with this DNS security, what we want to have is this some sort of protection from malware, phishing blocking, okay, protection against botnets, okay, advertisement blocking, okay, improve speed, okay. By this solution, if we can protect the environment, okay, so that means that the malware, okay, for example, with this solution, the malware cannot contact to the mothership, so we have this some sort of improvement on the network. Or otherwise, we have normal user access to the internet as well as on the malware. Okay. Okay. This is the CMOP ADF. So CMOP ADF stands for Advanced DNS Firewall. Okay. So for your information, DNS is nothing new. Okay. DNS is we have been using DNS for many years since the emergence of the internet. Okay. And this then ADF is a cloud-based security platform. So it means the backend are running on cloud. Okay. So we won't install any agent. Okay. Software inside on the PC or server on your organization. Okay. This ADF due to its capability to identify, to recognize all type of domain available on the internet, it has indexed 99.9 of the internet. So it means that on the database, on the ADF database, it has all the information. It can categorize and understand what type of domain, okay, of domain on the internet the people are accessing to. I mean, even the malware are accessing to. Okay, that is the idea. Okay, identifying and recognizing all type of the domain available on the internet. Okay, so the important is this solution is it has this intelligence. Okay, the idea is that okay, the main point is that with this intelligence, what we want to have this is we have capability of blocking this malicious activity. Okay, the key features. Let's look at the key features. Okay, with this ADF, Advanced DNS Firewall, what we want to have is this classification within seconds. So whenever you want to access the internet, the system has the capability to identify. Okay, to identify and to classify. Okay, the target domain. Okay, the domain you are accessing to. Okay, and also the DNS standard discovery. Okay, because this is so-called the very advanced method of using DNS. Okay, maybe some attacker use the DNS tunneling to communicate the software on your PC or server to contact to the mothership. Okay, it has the capability to discover the DNS tunneling with easy. Okay, the rest is malicious activity prevention. Okay, that is the focus for this solution. Okay, whitelisting. Okay, so the system has the capability to whitelist and also to blacklist. For example, maybe you could have your domain like Facebook, for example. Okay, but according to your policy, you want to block the user to access that. So we can do either automatically determined by the system or manually define the system. Okay. Okay. We have this the cloud-based real-time reporting. So with this system, we have this so-called web dashboard. So every user can log in. User mean most probably the admin of an organization. They can log into the system. They can see the report. Okay, they customize the report and also to customize the policy. Okay, at a glance. Okay. So this ADF will provide you the dashboard where the admin of an organization can monitor and control the access of the internet access. Okay, that is under the visibility. Okay, protection. So again, with this solution, we can enable the secure internet browsing. Okay, the idea is that to block malicious activity, even zero-day attacks. Even user on the off the premise means that if you want to have the policy, okay, for example, your user using the company's laptop, you can install the agent. So whenever they go, they will follow the same policy as of they are in on the premise. Okay, with this automation, okay, the backend of the system are using this automation system and the intelligence. The system is not using the so-called the RPG, the RPZ. Okay, the system has collected, gathered, analyzed the content of the internet, especially on the domain. So it will categorize. Okay. Okay, the rest is compliance. So again, if you have a policy on your company, so you can apply this as one of the compliance. Okay, in terms of this ROI and TCO, so the way we deliver the system is quite simple. Okay, again, we won't install any agent, okay, install any software on the PC on the server. So what we need is to point this organization to use this CMOP ADS DNS. Okay. Okay, the benefit is of course to stop to prevent malware attack, even zero-day attacks. Pre and post protection, pre and post infection protection. Okay, incident response. Okay, we have this dashboard, reporting, alert, whatever. Okay, the user will be notified if there is some sort of malware running on the network. Okay, okay, machine learning based automatic classification engine. Okay, this is the brain of the system. Okay, we are using AI and machine learning. Okay, to identify the domain. Okay. Okay, most importantly, this is a local cloud setup at CyberSecurity Malaysia. So this system is localized for Malaysia. It's not running somewhere in cloud, in a public cloud in US or otherwise. It's in CyberSecurity Malaysia here. Okay. Okay. Of course, the main function of the system is for the categorization of the internet traffic. Okay, these are some of the screenshots that we have captured. Okay, this is the main dashboard. We can see the first page showing the traffic-based anomaly from total, safe, malicious, variable, and restricted content. Okay, on the features, okay, on the highlight, it has this 60-minute categorization guarantee. For example, if we have a new domain that has just recently launched or not has been discovered by the system, we can inform the system to do the categorization. Okay, the system will crawl all the domain information on the particular domain and it will categorize whether it social media, gaming, or anything. Okay. Okay. The rest is on the dashboard itself. We have this critical historical counter tracking. Okay, we have this some sort of record. You can refer back to yesterday, last week, and last month for a year record. Okay, 1 year record. Okay, we have that safe search and clear ads. Okay, in case you want to to have this policy. So whenever your user in your organization want to search something, okay, it will only show a good result. Okay. Okay. There is a unique value proposition. Okay, that has the cloud-based system. So again, we will not install anything on the premise. Okay, no appliance will be installed. No nothing. No physical things. Okay. Very simple deployment. So minimal changes. So what we need to for the customer to do is to change their existing DNS. Okay, for example, you have maybe you are using Google DNS 8844, okay, or your ISP DNS. Then just change the existing DNS to CMOP ADF DNS. That's the rule. Okay, and the rest we will configure at the cloud. Okay, I think that's it for today. So thank you. I only have 50 minutes to share with you all. So if anything you want to clarify or to get information, do contact us. Okay, and then with that, thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Cik Kamal Rosali, for the presentation. Our next presenter, ladies and gentlemen, is the next presentations on data leakage protection. Please welcome our presenter from SecurMe, Sdn Bhd. Presenter from SecurMe is J. Amiran Jafar. He is currently the project director at SecurMe, Sdn Bhd, and has served at various related industry, specialized in data leakage prevention consultation, ICT project management, ICT infrastructure design. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome J. Amiran Jafar.
Okay, thank you. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. And very good afternoon to all our partners, collaborators, and also friends, and also participants that come to this industry dialogue this afternoon. Firstly, I would like to thank CyberSecurity Malaysia for giving us this chance for us to introduce our products, data leakage protection. Okay, see. Okay, this is our journey of our company. Last time we been known as Evolve Technologies. We already changed our name to SecurMe. SecurMe initially is our product name for data leakage protection. So we start with our collaboration with MOSTI and also CyberSecurity Malaysia to come out with this product, SecurMe. We have the common criteria certified, and now no more developed by Evolve because the Evolve was already changed to SecurMe Sdn Bhd. Okay, what is SecurMe? It's actually a data breaches due to insiders exposed organizations. So we are a software to protect data breaches due to insiders exposed organizations. So our keyword is actually the insider. We are the software to protect our company from the discover and protect. The mechanism to discover and protect. We discover, monitor, and we protect your sensitive data wherever it's stored or used across the networks. And we also have the content aware engine, of which we can monitor and control the endpoints, activities through deep content inspection of sensitive data. And we also have a console or central management. A central management console is a server to manage the endpoint and the storage system throughout. Okay, SecurMe is the only data leakage prevention solution. I believe the product available in Malaysia, probably we are the only one. And then we are certified by EAL2, Common Criteria Certified DLP Solution in Malaysia. and also Asia. We are the only one in Asia. We have a plans to go for EAL 4, level 4. And our software is specifically designed and developed for the Malaysia government. So we want to be a data leakage protection software for the Malaysian government. That is our intention in the first place. And we have the high performance capabilities to discover, monitor, and protect classified information by using content-aware analysis based on enterprise security policies. When we talk about content-aware, we are talking about so we have the content-aware. Okay, so and then our technology is a patented technology, sophisticated filtering and detection engine to enable high performance monitoring and protection. Ability to do the customization. We do customization based on the requirement from our customer. And any new request, as we are the developer of the solution, and our research and development lab is in Kuala Lumpur. And we are already implement in CyberSecurity Malaysia since 2015, of course with some challenges. And we are a winner of Cybersecurity Project of the Year 2017. And SecureMe is supported by MOSTI, MKN, and Cybersecurity Malaysia. Okay, now we're going through the biggest issue for the institution today is basically a data leakage. Okay? The insider threat is what we mentioned before. Insider threat is a malicious threat to an organization that comes from people within the organization. So what kind of insider threats we are talking about? First is the malicious insiders. They are people who take advantage of their privilege, access to leak out classified information intentionally. The data leakage intentionally. Then another one is a negligent insiders, are people who make errors and disregard policies which place their organizations at risk and leak out sensitive information accidentally. So the negligent insiders is most of the cases actually come from negligent insiders. And then the third one is the infiltrators, which are the external actors who manage to obtain legitimate access credential without authorization. So this is the purpose of the system is actually to protect from the insider, which is, it can be a malicious insider, it can be the negligent insiders, or it can be infiltrators itself. So this is the common insider threats that happen into the industry, into the organization. Traditional computer security solutions like firewall, antivirus, encryption, and VPN are focused on preventing external hackers. Then number two, the danger associated with the insider threat has become greater. And insider threat is a top information security issue facing governments today, inclusive Malaysian government. And protecting corporate data is now on the agenda of the highest decision-making person, CEO, MD, Board of Director, Head of Legal, and Head of Compliance. We had listened to the previous discussion. Then I think we understand what they are talking about is more on the policy up to the higher level. Okay, who is the insider threats? It can be the internal employees. It can be a former employees. It can be mobile and remote employees. It can be also your supplier and partners. Then it can be also consultants, contractors, and customers. This is some of the major incidents happens in all over the place, all over the world. So don't forget, Malaysia also has a few cases related to the data leakage. Yeah? And then this is our product, SecureMe. It's actually a comprehensive data leakage prevention system to protect all classified and confidential data for the government of Malaysia from insider threats. if we comparing the technology, we may have the encryption technology to protect our data, because some of the organization, they apply the encryption technology, but the encryption technology, they have some limitation that can range from simpler solutions to much more complex methods of protecting a document. But the most important things to keep in mind that anyone with the access key can open the document and make change to it. So you encrypt, you protect, but the insider, those who access to the document, they may be the one who leak that information. Yeah? Second one is the digital right management, controls access privileges by allowing certain documents only to be accessed by authorized individuals. But similar to the disadvantage of encryption, anyone with the access to the file can share information. So there is a problem when the one having an access to the file, they may be able to leak that particular document. Okay? Okay, our product is data leakage prevention. Probably data leakage prevention also cannot foolproof 100% on the protection, but to complement on the digital right management, to complement on the encryption, so you can have, if you have a policy, you can have a solution that is good enough to protect your data, the institution data from leak out. So data leakage prevention as a content-aware technology can prevent the unauthorized distribution of sensitive data from the endpoints or networks. So the DLP solution can monitor sensitive documents based on predefined policies to detect suspicious activities and prevents authorized insiders from accessing and distributing appropriate information via the various channels such as email, HTTP, IM, instant messengers, USB, and printers. So basically, we are protecting all the channels from leak out. Probably the user, the insiders, they can have access to that particular document, but they cannot distribute that document because we already protect that channel. Okay, how does classified data leak out? One is through the channel, the endpoint as one of the channel, the PC, the notebook. The area of leakage can be through USB, it can be through hard disk, it can be through CD drive, mobile devices, serial parallel port, Bluetooth and infrared, a network server, emails, internet, webmail, social media, cloud storage, mobile phone and tablets. And the actions, when they're printing, they may be able to print and then they bring back the printed document or the print screen or the clipboard or copy, cut and paste, drag and drop attachments. So that's the actions. So we have a few types of sensitive data. This is standard practice in our government. In Malaysia government, we have what we call top secret or rahsia besar. And we have secret, rahsia. And we have confidential, terhad. Restricted, terhad. Confidential is sulit. Confidential is sulit. And we also have public. It means open, terbuka. Now I'm going to introduce on the Secure Me features. How does Secure Me protect the information? So we protect the channels. We can protect the USB, email, internet, HTTP, clipboard, email, instant messaging, print screen, and data discovery. Data discovery means okay, the policy target group. We can also protect the policy target group, the users, the group of users. And there is a data identifier. Data identifier, that means we can protect. How are we going to protect? Data identifier is how are we going to protect. We can protect using the keyword, a selective keyword, because it is a content-aware application, content-aware system. That means we use a keyword against the content. And then we have also the fingerprinting. Fingerprinting is a technology that we use to if we already know the document, for example, if we already know the document, we do not want to scan the whole thing. So we fingerprint it, then the fingerprint technology can be able to process the data leakage protection very fast comparing to the content aware, to the keyword. And we have regular expression, means a combination of that. We have also file attribute, we can protect against according to file attribute. And then we have pattern logic, it's a combination of any of the above. So we can do a combination of the above also. The protective action can be notified only. It can be justified. That means the system will come up with the message that you have to enter. Okay, we have run short of time. Okay, this is how the system works. Identify, prepare, enforce discovery, respond, resolve. But we can do the monitoring, discover, monitor, and protect. So this is our features. This is how the things work. Because you can see from here, okay, you can see from here, we have on the cloud. We can set our system on the cloud. We can have business intelligence dashboard server, mobile device management server, server installed with SecureMe, web-based control management console, and server installed with storage. And then we can have external computing devices work from home. SecureMe endpoint on the laptop and mobile device management work from home. You can access to the server. That means the protection can be done not just in the organization, but a person that work from home. Okay, because I think we have very short of time, so I would like to stop my presentation now.
Thank you very much, Encik Amran. Thank you very much for the presentation and a token of appreciation from the organizer. We would like to invite Technologist Dr. Aswami Fadilah bin Muhammad Arifin, Senior Vice President of Cybersecurity Responsive Service Division, to present token appreciations to our presenter. Please welcome Encik Kamaruzzaman Salih. Thank you. And please welcome once again Encik Amiran to receive a token of appreciation. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause to our presenters. Thank you very much, Dr. Aswami. And to our guests today, we will take a short break now. Kindly remain in your seat. The Yang Berhormat Menteri will arrive any moment now. But meanwhile, if for any of you who have not scanned your MySejahtera, please do so. We wouldn't want unwanted experiences later on with the authority. And I would like to request those who are at the front table, the 3 front table, to vacate your seats and move to the back table to make way for the Yang Berhormat. Thank you very much for your kind attention. We take a short break now. We wait for the